Hi everyone, from 8th chapter, All Play and No Work. Let's begin. The King family went on holiday. So did Aunt March. So what does it mean? It means it's time for holiday for Meg and Joe. Life became wonderful for Meg and Joe because they didn't have to work. Girls decided to play and rest all the time and not to work. They didn't want to work anymore. They asked Mrs. March, and Mrs. March agreed to the plan, but just for a week, she said. In fact, Mrs. March wanted to teach them a lesson, and at the end of the chapter, we'll understand what I mean. Mrs. March knew that all play and no work was as bad as all work and no play, but the girls didn't know this, and they would see at the end of the chapter. Meg ate her breakfast alone. The room was untidy. We are talking about next day now. The room was untidy because Beth didn't want to work and Beth hadn't cleaned it. Jo went to the river with Laurie to read a book because her best activity was reading. One of her best activities was reading. Beth left tidying things half done. She didn't finish it. Amy went for a walk, but she got caught in the rain and came home very wet. At tea, everyone said it was a delightful but unusually a long day. Meg didn't like the dress she had bought. She had been shopping. Jo had a headache from reading too long because she read for a long time. Beth couldn't find anything in the cupboard because she didn't put them in a correct order. Amy's dress was so wet that she couldn't wear it to Kathy Brown's party. No one was so happy. In fact, they didn't work. They did their best things, but they weren't happy. Mrs. March just listened, smiled, and said nothing because, as you know, she wanted to teach them a lesson. Uh, the next morning, when the girls got up on Sunday, it was different because there was no breakfast ready, no fire in the kitchen. They couldn't see their mother and also Hannah. So Mrs. March was staying in her room to have a rest. Jo suggested preparing breakfast for Mrs. March. They wanted to make a surprise. But the tea was too strong. Egg was burned. The egg was burned. Although the tea was too strong, the egg was burned, Mrs. March didn't complain. Jo decided to invite Laurie to dinner. They had meat, vegetables, plenty of potatoes, strawberries. Mrs. March told them she would be out for dinner, so they could feel free themselves. They could, get ready everything as they wished, she thought. Jo did her best. Although she did her best, the vegetables were cooked too long, so after being cooked too long, they fell to the pieces. And the meat was burnt black. She used salt instead of sugar for strawberries. So nothing was ready, let me say. Nothing was ready for the dinner. Laurie came. He pretended everything was all right. But in fact, nothing was all right. After that, Amy took a spoonful and ran from the table. "What's wrong?" said Jo. Meg and Lori told her, "Oh no," said Joe. Okay, after that, she saw Lori start to smile. Then she began to smile. Soon everyone was laughing with her. Everyone began to laugh. Mrs. March returned home and they complained that they wouldn't have another rest. That's enough. They wanted to work. Mrs. March gave them a lesson and said being comfortable depending on helping one another. Okay, and after that, the girls planned to go for a picnic. Some days later, all four girls went for a picnic with some people. Lori, Mr. Brooke, Sally Gardiner, and her English friend Miss Kate was among those people. Mr. Brooke, do you remember Mr. Brooke? He was Lori's tutor, private teacher. He became one of their friends also. First of all, he complained that Lori, didn't attend the lesson very often, but after that, he became one of their friends. After the meal, when Miss Kate began to draw under a tree, Mr. Brooke was sitting beside her, and also Meg watched her. Uh, Meg wished she could draw it also. And after that, they had conversation about drawing and teaching. Miss Kate said that, why didn't you learn how to draw? And Meg said that, Meg, okay, sorry, Emmy. Emmy, oh no, there's a problem. Emmy wished to draw and they had conversation. There's a problem. It's not Emmy, it's Meg, okay? It's Meg. I prepared this in the middle of the night. That's why I wrote Emmy instead of Meg. I'm so sorry for this. Okay, Meg wished to draw, but she said that I had to teach. I'm teaching for young children, she said. And after that, Miss Kate just said, "Oh, it means that her face expressed everything. Being a private teacher was little better than being a servant," she thought. But at that time, Mr. Brooke said nice things for Meg. Miss Kate criticized them for working at an early age and moved away. After she had gone, Mr. Brooke and Meg consoled each other by talking about teaching, because teaching is a nice thing, and Mr. Brooke was so lucky to teach Lori also. She learned that Mr. Brooke had no family and would become a soldier when Lori went to college the following year. Meg said that it is hard for the family who stay at home, especially, but Mr. Brooke said he had no family. And Meg told Mr. Brooke if anything happened to him, Lori, his grandfather, also she herself would all be sorry. They would all be sorry, she said, and these words made him cheer up again. Okay, I hope you liked this chapter, you understood. Okay, see you next time. Take care of yourself. I really like this story, let me say.